Hey guys, welcome back for the second time tonight. Wow, two videos for me in one day. It's time to go buy a lottery ticket, right? Uh, anyway, I want to show you a few things that I got in the mail over the last week or so. I'd actually had a couple of gift cards that I'd gotten for Christmas, and believe it or not, I hadn't spent them yet or used them because usually, gift cards like burn a hole in my pocket. And, my son and I are like the same way. But for some reason, I was like, okay, I had several things I was looking at, and I was like, well, I finally pulled the trigger and used them. But I got a couple DVD sets, Blu-ray. First one, the complete series of Legion of Superheroes. So, this was, I had an Amazon card and I had a Visa gift card too, so I just kind of combined them. And this is one I got to watch like the first few episodes, and I think the channel I was watching it on, somehow it wasn't on our cable anymore. And we've completely got rid of cable now. So, but anyway, I first watched this, I kind of liked it and kind of like, well, I wasn't sure because the animation was kind of like between, Titans Go and then maybe like the other DC animated stuff. So I wasn't really quite sure about the animation. But I went back and I found, I forgot what I streamed it on, but I watched a few more episodes. And I really got into it because I'm a big Legion of Superheroes fan. I have been ever since I was a kid. And so I decided to go ahead and pull the trigger on this, got the complete series. So I'm looking forward to sitting down and going through this. Got some special features. Got some commentary on the series finale and voice actors on there. So I'm not really sure how many episodes are on here, but I guess I'll find out once I get into it. Anyway, glad to have this. And I got another DVD set. Well, I think the first set of this I got was on Blu-ray, but I was always a big fan of the Stargirl show. I watched all 3 seasons. And to me, it was the closest that they have ever came to like adapting something from the comics that was true to the comics. They changed a lot of stuff. Of course, nothing is ever going to be true blue to the comics as far as an adaptation goes. Everybody knows that. But this had more of a feel like the JSA comic and Stargirl. So got complete second season. I've already got season 1 over there. Haven't opened it. I'm going to go ahead and probably get season 3 before too long. And I just want to sit down and just kind of, plow through them again just because this was a great series. Had all kinds of great Easter eggs if you're a DC fan and a Justice Society fan. But the girl that played her, Brett Bassinger, she is Stargirl. And, Luke Wilson and, Amy Smart and all these great actors that's in it. And it's just big fan. That's all I can say. If you haven't watched it, highly, highly recommend it if you're a DC fan. Okay, the second thing I got, and I've been wanting this for a while, and for those of you that watch my channel for I'm a big figure of the DC PVC sets, and I've got probably 6 or 7 sets on the shelves back there. Finally, freedom from their boxes, because, I like to play with my toys. But anyway, this is one that I had wanted originally when they all started coming out, but one of those things like, it's a little hard on the wallet, trying to get all these at once or even spacing them out. But this is one of my favorite groups, and I know my partner in crime, Dr. Silver Age, Rod, he's a big fan of these too, and he actually got him a set. So I think we're both happy that we got these. But here we have the Metal Man. If you can see that. Got all 6 of the Metal Men plus Doc Magnus. And this came out probably 2000, 2001. And this looks like it just came off the shelf. The box is in great shape. Somebody had a marker on there, I guess, but yeah, it looks brand new. The figures are amazing. I mean, the detail. There you got Mercury and gold, tin, platinum, Ortina, lead, and iron. And Doc Magus, has he got his pipe? I don't think he's got his pipe. Oh no. Anyway, that would have been a cool touch anyway, but big Metal Man fan. And just really happy to have these. I really don't have room on a shelf anywhere. But what I do have, I have some of those little plastic self-adhesive little hooks, like you see on the top of the boxes sometimes. And I'm probably just going to stick a couple push pins and like put them up on the wall like that. So really happy to have these. Okay, and the last thing I got, for those of you that have been following me, I'm kind of a Planet of the Apes fan, you know, just a tiny little bit, just teensy tiny little bit. So, I got a lot of, you know, I love everything in my Apes collection, but as far as like the comics and the magazines go, you know, I was really happy to finally complete the Marvel mag from the 70s. It ran 29 issues, and I think it got canceled like in 77, and I think the next year they canceled Commandy. So for like, you know, that year right there that they canceled, I was what I would call comic book heartbroken because they canceled the Apes, they canceled Commandy, and I was like, what am I going to do? You know, well, I found other comics to read, obviously, but I was really happy to have all 29 original issues of the Planet of the Apes magazine from Marvel. But, you know, after a few years, I started hearing rumors, you know, and after the internet come along, I started hearing all stuff. Well, they had enough material to like do a 30th issue, right? And we'll show you something first. Okay, I've shown this in videos before, or maybe it was on a live stream, but you know, there was like pages of some stories that were going to be in the, you know, that were going to be in the magazine, or they had planned to put in the magazine. And the only reason the magazine was a good seller, the only reason they had to cancel it is because the licensing fee, or the licensing fee from Fox, the fees were getting too big. So they had to drop it just because the fees to have the license, you know, were too much. So that's the only reason. It wasn't because of popularity. But there was talk over the years like they had enough material to make, you know, another issue. And Doug Minch, the guy that wrote most of it and just did a brilliant job, you know, he had enough, I guess, scripts to last up through like issue 38 and had plots and plans to go through like issue 60 of that magazine. So for Apes fans, I was like, wow, where's that stuff at? You know, where's that stuff? So, you know, I'd heard about it for years, and I'd seen little dribs and drabs of stuff, you know, on the internet. And there's a great, if you're an Apes fan, there's a great website run by a guy named Hunter Goatley. It's Planet of the Apes Archives. I'm not sure what the web address is exactly, but if you look under Hunter Goatley and Planet of the Apes Archives, there'll be like everything and anything about the Planet of the Apes, you know, and I've been on there on and off for years and years. And there's another guy named Rich Handley who wrote a bunch of books about the Planet of the Apes. So these guys, I guess, kind of had kept in touch and had a bunch of this stuff, or, you know, had access to a bunch of this unpublished stuff. So, and there was already a cover painted for that book. Now, this is for the longest time, Boom Comics had the license to do the Planet of the Apes. And this was like part of a 6-issue miniseries about Ursus. Of course, you know, he's the gorilla, for those of you in the know about Planet of the Apes from the second movie, Beneath the Planet of the Apes. He was the gorilla general. You know, the only good human is a dead human and all that. And this was kind of like, you know, his origin. Great miniseries. But they had published, and this might be a variant, but there was a cover already painted by the one and only Bob Larkin, who did like gorgeous jobs on like all the Marvel magazines, you know, Conan and Rampaging Hulk and the horror magazines and Master Kung Fu and all that great stuff, of which I'm a big fan of too. But this is a cover that was actually painted beforehand to be the 30th issue of the Planet of the Apes magazine. And so here's the cover for that. And I just thought that was brilliant. I mean, you got the Gorilla General, and you're seeing the ruins of Washington, D.C., and, you know, the gorillas are doing their thing, and it was just awesome. So, you know, there was that, and I was pretty excited about that, you know, just to see that cover. But there was a guy on Facebook, and his name was Terry Allen, and he's in one of the Planet of the Ape groups. I'm not sure which one because I'm in so many. But I guess he had access to these guys and the material that they had done, and they had like printed like so many copies of this book. And I guess he had found them in a box in his garage or something, or maybe he was moving. I can't remember the story now. But he had like 100 issues of where they had compiled some of this stuff. There was like 4 or 5 pages of artwork, like for the 30th issue. There was like scripts that Doug Minch had typed up, and it had his notes in it. And there was like 3 or 4 issues, or not 3 or 4 issues, but 3 or 4 pages of an adaptation of Battle for the Planet of the Apes, you know, the original, that didn't get included in the original adaptation because they did like comic book adaptations of all the ape movies. So the cool thing was, you know, you had the adaptations of the movies. You had the serial that was running called Terror on the Planet of the Apes, had Alexander and Jason, like the teenage boy and the teenage ape, and they were kind of, you know, doing their little adventures and all that kind of stuff. And then there was another one called Future History Chronicles. One of my favorites, one of my favorite artists did a bunch of those. It was like apes had these cities on giant ships, and Tom Sutton did the art. I'm a huge Tom Sutton fan. If you look at those stories and how much detail, and I think when they said he did the original art, I mean, he did it like on twice up boards, you know, so it was just beautiful. They had that storyline going. There was another one called Kingdom on an island of the apes. That's kind of funny because you have the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie out now. But it was like this guy that believed, named Derek Zane, and he believed that, you know, Charlton Heston's character, Taylor, and, you know, Stewart, Landon, and Dodge, and all those were lost in time, and he built a time machine, and he was trying to tell people, I can go back and find them, and they thought he was nuts. Well, he did build a time machine, and he went forward in time to the Earth, and he found out there was like a society of you know, apes and humans living together, like and made their own little Camelot. So that was kind of cool, and they thought he was like some kind of wizard because he had like a flashlight and all kinds of stuff. And I know I digress. Anyway, there was lots of great stuff going through the Apes magazine, plus, you know, the articles on the movies and the TV show and all that. But anyway, this guy had found 100 copies of this book that they had compiled. It was like 100. I think it's like 100 issues, or not 100 issues, like 100. Yeah, it's 100 pages thick, and he had like 100 copies of this, and they'd use the same cover that would have been on Planet of the Apes 30, you know, same back cover and all that, and it included. There's no complete stories, you know, but there's some articles in there about the origins, you know, how they found the stuff. And then you have some pages that would have been in issue. I think the artist was Sonny Trinidad. Of course, when they talked to him years later, he said he doesn't remember doing it. But, you know, if you know Trinidad's art, you know that's him. But this was worth the whole package. I mean, just this 2-page spread of the gorilla setting sights on a ruined Washington, D.C. You know, of course, that was I guess they called that Forbidden Zone Prime because that's where the humans used to rule, I guess. I just thought that was brilliant. You know, and there's a few more ape characters in this one. You know, it's got great art. You know, just what you expect from a Planet of the Apes magazine. Like I say, the story, the art might be out there somewhere to the rest of this, but the story is not complete. There's like 2, 4, 6, 8. There's like 8 or 10 pages of this story, and but I mean, there's you know, there's more articles about how they were going to do it. Got more great pictures in it. And here we have some of Doug Minch's scripts. There was plots, actually, for the scripts. It was going to be a new series to replace the movie adaptations, and it was going to continue the story of Derek Zane, the guy that traveled back in time to find Taylor and all of them, and he wound up in the new Avalon, or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, here's his typewritten pages with his notes explaining how this was going to happen, and it sounds great. Like I say, he had stuff that was going to go up through issue 38, and had plotted stuff apparently through issue 60. So 30 more issues, I guess, he had plotted before they canceled the book. More typewritten pages with notes. And this stuff's just fascinating to me. And if you're not an Apes fan, you're probably not going to give a what about it. But if you are and you're fascinated about stuff like this, to me this is almost like the canceled comic cavalcade from DC. The implosion and all that kind of stuff. So this is like the lost issue, is what they're calling it. Like a lot of typewritten pages. Yeah, and I've read about halfway through this, and I'm just more fascinated. And this is where they were going to have more of the future history chronicles, the apes on the city ships. And here you got another plot for 18 pages of some more of those stories. And on a lot of typewritten pages of plots and storyline, and this is anything but monkey trash, and I have to agree because I am an Apes fan. And here you have a plot for Terror on the Planet of the Apes, the aforementioned story with Jason and Alexander. So I know there's some more art in here towards the end. Okay, here you got, never foreseen pages. Those are going to be from the adaptation of the Battle. And, of course, that's from a cover of the series. And I did a couple videos featuring the Planet of the Apes mag run. It's been several years ago. So if you guys want to watch that, or maybe you want to see a new one, let me know. But here... got some, I'm not sure, but I think the art in this is maybe Alfredo Alcala. Let's see, this is supposed to be part of the Battle adaptation. And here you have some art from Jeff Ackland and Mike Nasser from the UK Planet of the Apes Weekly, 88. Now, I've got a few of the British weeklies. I wish I had all of them. I don't. I've probably got like the first 8 or 10, and I got some scattered issues. But they're hard to find. But there's a great piece of art. A couple more from Dave Wenzel and Frank Giacoa, and Jeff Ackland and Tom Palmer. More apey goodness here. And this is from Apes Weekly 93, or would have been. And I think these two characters are called Steely Dan, funny enough, and Gunpowder Julius. And they were some of the characters in the Terror storyline. So, for Apes fans, this is great. Like I said, this guy had, I think he said he had 100 copies, and said first come, first serve, and I'll sell you one. So I didn't know how long the post had been up, so I just took a chance and said, hey, I'd like to, buy a copy of this or reserve a copy for it. Oh, sure, so like within just like a few days, I had it, and I was just like, and I've probably thumbed through this thing like a dozen times, and I'll go back and I'll read some pages and I'll thumb through it again and I'll look at it again, and like I say, not a big deal if you're not an Apes fan, but this is like a grail almost, And a lot of people, even I see people comment on this now saying, well, it's not really the 30th issue. It's just a bunch of stuff thrown together. Well, when you're an Apes fan and you see stuff that could have been, it really gives you a charge. So anyway, if you're a fan of Planet of the Apes magazine, especially, this is a great collectible. I think you can look up some. I can't remember. There's several Planet of the Apes pages on Facebook, but this guy's name was Terry Allen, and I think he's like one of the top contributors and or an administrator. So kudos to Terry. Thank you very much. Great communication, through Facebook, and sent it out, and bam, it was here. So won't be getting any duplicates of this one, I'm pretty sure. So I'm gonna try to be real careful with it. I'm already kind of roughing it up just by looking through it, but this is to me this is a grail. So happy to have it, very happy to have it, and we'll add it to the Apes collection. All right, guys. Thanks for listening to me ramble on and on. So anyway, hope you guys are having a great week so far. Onward and upward.